Alright, welcome everybody. Welcome to Rumors of War Gaming, and today we'll be looking at the basics on how to play Ground Branch. So, first things first, when you load into your select mission or map, you'll find yourself in this little lobby area, or whatever it is, and then we'll take a walk through to we'll jog through to the preparation area. You'll find a locker room, you'll find your briefing slash deployment room, and then our gun range. So for a start, we come over here to our lockers. You'll find your name on the locker. You can customize from here, or what we'll be doing today, we'll take a run over here and customize from the gun range. There's a customization table over here, and that's where we'll do our work from. So first off, if we look at our customization, on the left of our screen we have 5 options to choose from. We have an in-game name you can change. You can have a call sign or no call sign. You can pick between a couple faces, 5 of them. We have either a beard or no beard. So there's still a little bit of limited character customization options over there. We can also customize all of our patches on the head and on the body and arms. It's not so really relevant to anything, it's just a little fun detail that they've added. It is cool because you can customize and give a little bit more of a unique appearance to your character. But anyway, that's not going to matter so much. As you see, when we get to the other uniform options, you'll be covering up your face most likely anyways. So as you see, I've picked a completely stripped down character, put him in some civilian clothes, and we'll go through a quick character build. I'll try not to take up too much of your time, and we'll build a character and show you how to do all the basics of building up your character for a mission, and then we'll go through the functionality and the controls and stuff, and then hopefully we can get through this video in a quick time and you guys will learn something about the game from it. So starting from the ground up with our footwear, we have 4 options. We have work boots, tactical boots, hiking shoes, and combat boots. So I'm just going to do a standard combat build today of what I guess a soldier would look like, and take it from there. Okay, next we have gloves. We have 2 options, assault and tactical. Then we have our jeans over here. We can change them out. We've got 5 different pants to choose from: combat, ghillie pants with like strands on it, jeans, and our tactical pants. I'm just going to go with tactical pants. Then we'll look at our tops. We have quite a few to choose from t-shirts to flannel shirts. There's a hoodie, there's some normal button-up flannel shirts, normal button-up shirts, and then all our combat tops and basic stuff. So let's go with a standard little combat shirt. We'll take the rolled one. Then we have our masks. We have a shemagh and a balaclava. I'll take the balaclava today. Eyewear, we have a few options, but I think the basic one is just these clear eye shield ones I'll take for today. And then working on to our gear. So uniform all the way on the right here, our outfit, our gear in the middle, and our weapons kit on the left. And we'll keep doing everything from the ground up. Starting off with the holster over here. There's only one, a Safariland holster. Then with our belts, we have 2 belts, a gun belt and a battle belt. We'll be using the battle belt for this video, but they all have the same functionality and customization. Next thing, the most important part I think of this gear build is your carrier rig. I haven't seen that the plate carriers provide any difference in protection yet. I think the developers are still working on that, but they're there. Okay, so we have 5 different ones. We have our ballistic vest. We have just standard chest rigs, 2 of them, no armor, and then we have our plate carriers. Slightly little streamlined one and the bigger one. We'll be taking the NPC, the bigger one for now. And then moving on to our headgear. We've got hats, we've got these hoods, these ghillie hoods, which match the pants and tops that they are. We have headsets and helmets. We also have a shemagh and the NVG mount. So for now I'll be taking the AF covered one. I like how it looks, and you can have some camo options for it as well. Okay, then next one, we don't have any special purpose things just yet. I think they'll still be adding that. I'm not sure when the next update will be. I'll try and do a video on that sometime as well. So weapons kit we have secondary and primary. Our grenades and everything will fall in under our kit. I'll show you guys how that works in a bit. So for now, before we get to the weapons, let's go over how to customize our kit. Starting with the colors and camo. Now every kit option has well, almost everyone has a customization option over here in the bottom right, your settings, where you can change the layout of all your stuff. And then you have in the top right a tab that lets you change the camo or color. So depending on what kit you chose, if it's more military type stuff, you'll have more camo options. If you choose civilian type stuff, you'll have less options. You'll have more bland basic colors and things to choose from. So for now, we're going to just go with the standard woodland build quickly. I will not run you down each thing, so just have a look at what I do quickly. And as we do this, you'll quickly catch on to what you need to do when you want to customize your stuff. Okay, so I think it looks okay. We've got a basic build over here, little woodland setup. I'll use this kit in the next video that I do. I'll be doing some kind of a woodland type thing, so we'll check that out later. Alright, so now if we look at our gear customization, it gets a little bit more extensive. We've got our battle belt. Let's start there. Just like with the weapon customization, which you'll see in a bit, with the battle belt you can drag your items off and on and build the belt however which way you like. You can put anything you want on this thing that's available in your options over here. You can have as many grenades as you can carry, you can have as many mag pouches as you can carry, really doesn't matter. We could put a breaching charge on some items. I think the breaching charge will go on your carrier vest. And yeah, you can have 6 different attachments on your belt. So for now we'll just keep it as the basic belt, but you get the idea. If you drag off, you can replace it with something else. So what I'm going to do is keep it basic. We'll put the secondary ammo back. Something you'll notice with the attachments on your gear, you have individual mags you can put on. Depending on what weapons you carry, you can choose to put your standard factory mags, your extended mags, or you can go with the generic pouch for secondary or primary, which I think is a cool option. You just take your secondary ammo, put it on whatever handgun you take, it'll have the appropriate mags in. Whatever rifle you take, it'll have the appropriate mags for that. So that's something you don't have to think too hard about if you want to. And then moving on, we've got our plate carrier. Plate carrier is exactly like the battle belt, except you can put a breaching charge on the back, or binoculars or rangefinder. Breaching charge is cool, it's quite useful. I've used it a few times, I like it. Depends on what kind of play style you want to play. And then obviously your loadouts, you can have realistic loadouts. You can load every single pouch with just primary mags or just grenades. You can play around with the customization and the placement of your equipment and your mags. So again, you can drag them off. You can drop on new items. If I want to drop on primary mags, drop them on. And yeah, pretty straightforward stuff there. Moving on to our helmets. Our helmets, we have 3 attachments you can add to your helmets. We can do a headset, IR strobe, and our night vision. So let's start off with night vision. We'll slap this one on. Then our headset. The IR strobes actually function when you have your night vision on. You'll be able to see where your friendly players are. If you're playing with teammates and you don't want to shoot them, it's good to have some IR strobes on your kit. And yeah, pretty straightforward. It's not that complicated once you get into it, and it's quite fun, the degree of freedom you have with your customization, especially when you get to the weapon stuff that I'm going to go over now. Okay, so let's start off with secondaries. Quite a few of these options have optics you can put on them. The older guns, I don't think they have optics like these 3 on the bottom. However, the Glocks are quite customizable. We have two Glocks. We've got a patrol and an urban. The patrol doesn't allow for an optic, the urban allows for an optic, so we're going to go with this build today. And you'll find that any weapon you choose comes with a preset loadout on it with all the customization options on it. But if you want to change that out, you can. So let's quickly just do a quick customization of this Glock. We'll start with the mags. If I take this +5, I drag it over, drop it over there, it'll be on the gun. Now something cool to note, if I choose the 15 round mags and I took the generic secondary ammo pouches, all those pouches will be filled with 15 round mags. However, if I took this one and I dropped it in there, all my generic pouches will be filled with +5 mags, unless I opted to put some extra 15 round mags on my kit in the attachments for your belts and your chest rig, which you can do. You can put individual mags on that hold 15 or 19 rounds, and then you'll have them to use in the game. Okay, then your muzzle device, we only have a suppressor option. There aren't any muzzle brakes or anything yet, so we'll just go without a suppressor for now. Sights, we have two sights. We have this Dr. 2 and we have an RMR. I'm going to go with the Dr. 2. I like the way it looks, I like the tan, and it looks pretty cool. And then our lights and lasers, we only have the Surefire X300, so we'll drop that one on. And that's it for our pistol customization. Pretty easy, pretty cool. The functionality we'll get into a little bit later is pretty much the same as what you'd use on the rifles. Okay, now moving on to our primary weapons. There are a lot of options, but it basically comes down to personal preference and what kind of mission you're going to run and what requirements you have for ranges. If you're going to do long range, you're going to do a CQB, or you're going to do mid to long range, or switch from CQB to mid range. It depends on the mission and the maps. There are quite a few, and it's all up to your personal preference and if you're playing with teammates and what kind of loadouts you guys want to run. So for today's video, we'll go over the AR-15s as they have the most customization, and the general customization for the AR-15 will carry through to every single other gun because all the customization is pretty much the same. However, now we'll find with your AKs, your standard old school AKs, they will have less customization. You can do maybe 2 or 3 things. You'll just have to check it out. These will have a rail adapter you can put on to have an optic and a muzzle device. You can change around some of the mags for either bakelite or polymer mags and stuff. Then your AK Alpha series will have exactly the same customization as your AR-15s. They can take the most customization. So yeah, let's move on to the AR-15 platform. I'm going to take a Mark 18, and you'll see each weapon that you choose does come with a preset set of accessories, or yeah, it comes preset, so you can either just take a generic gun and run it, you'll be perfectly fine. But for today, just to get through the functionality of how everything works, I'm going to do a build for you guys, and we'll strip it down and build it from scratch. So you can zoom in with your mouse wheel. Left mouse click will manipulate the position of the weapon, and right mouse click will rotate the weapon if you move your mouse. So let's get into it. Let's strip off this. Cool, now we have a bare gun. We'll start from the muzzle device and work our way back. Now with your AR-15s, you have 2 muzzle device options. We have black suppressor or an FDE suppressor. We'll take the FDE because it matches the color of the gun. With the AKs, generally you'll have 1 suppressor, and with the G3 I believe you'll have 1 suppressor, but there are suppressible options in the other guns as well. Okay, now we have a muzzle device. Let's move over to our tactical devices. We'll start off with our laser. You have 3 laser options. You have a visible laser, and we have a PEQ-15, black or FDE. We'll go with the FDE option again. I'm going to put it a little bit forward now, as we'll see why just now. Then our lights, I like to run this one, the tac light, as it's a nice bright one for just momentary scanning or quickly switching on and off to check those dark spots. I like it. It's quite a tactical one, but it's again all up to your personal preference. We've got 3 lights. We have a little short tack light. It's a little bit dimmer. It's not as bright. And then I think this tack light over here, if I remember right, is a little bit more of a yellow light. No, it's a bit of a brighter white light. This one is a bit more yellow. So I think for today's video purpose, let's take this tack light and I'll show you how that one functions just now. Okay, now moving on to our rails and mounts. We have different attachments there. We've got risers, so you can have height over bore options for your guns, for your optics, and then we have our rail panels. This is purely aesthetic, just for you guys who like to do more realistic stuff and play around with the way the guns look. I think this is a cool option because you can put stuff on your guns that you would actually buy and put on your guns in real life, like these these rail panels will protect your hands from the rough edges on the quad rail in real life, and I think it's cool that you can add them on the gun. Now we have an offset rail. I think I'm going to pop this one on in place of this just to show you guys some functionality stuff just now. Then let's move on to our underbarrel stuff. A quick note with the underbarrel stuff, the bipod is not a functional bipod yet in the game, so it doesn't do anything. The only thing that the attachments in the game do, like the bipod, it will add weight to your firearms, and then it will cause your character's arms to fatigue a lot quicker, and you'll get more weapon sway. So something to take note of, the weight of your attachments does matter when it comes to the fatigue of your player's arms. Your kit also does carry weight, so if you have a lot of kit on you and you have lots of mags, lots of grenades and a heavy build, then your player will fatigue a lot quicker, your running will be a bit slower, and your arms will shake a lot more, making your shots harder to make. So sum it all up, don't use the bipod. It's currently useless. I think they will make it functional later, which then the trade-off between fatigue in your arms and being able to place a bipod will be something you can look at. But for now, we won't worry about it. I'm just going to go here with the reverse grip. I like this one, it looks cool, and I would probably use it in real life as well. Okay, now we've sorted out the forend of the gun. Let's move over to our optics, our sights. There's quite a few cool options. We have LVPOs, we have ACOGs, we have red dots, we have iron sights, mini optics. I mean, whatever you want to play with, whatever playstyle you have, whatever options you would like to use, they have them. There's quite a few cool name brands. Just scroll through them, see what you want to do. Something cool to note is the distance you can place your optics is purely up to you. If I want to take a rear sight and stick it over here or stick it over there, I can do it. There's nothing limiting you other than how you want to play the game. So for now, let's just go with the Razer HD. I'm going to slap it on over here, and we want to get back to our rail mounts quick, put an offset. You'll see there is distances you'll have to check. Some optics will let you put the 45-degree angle under the optic, some will not. So you just play around with it and see what works for you. Okay, so let's do this. We'll stick the Doctor 2. We can even put a little mini aim point on there. I think let's stick a little mini aim point on there for now, but you can put an RMR on it. It is a little bit smaller, but yeah, for now let's do this. Move along our magazines. We've got a few options. We have traditional standard mags, we have the little 20 rounder, we have a Taran Tactical +5, a FDE PMag, and we have a black PMag. So for now we'll run the FDE PMags, and I think that's a cool example build for us. Alright, so now we've gone over basic character customization and our loadouts. You can obviously dive in as deep as you want, change all these items on your belt and your vest, and go crazy. You can even make your guy look like a terrorist or civilian, whatever. It's quite a fun game for customization. Okay, So now that we've gone through the very long and boring customization stuff, let's get into the gameplay and functionality, starting with your weapon manipulations. If we look at our character as he stands, we've currently got our rifle on a sling and our handgun is in the holster. If we want to take our handgun out, our rifle will still stay on the sling. If we roll our mouse up, we'll go from the low ready to a compressed ready position. If we go from compressed ready and we roll the mouse up, we'll go to a high ready position. So that's something to note. Your high ready and your low ready will give your arms a break so that your character can regain his stamina in his arms and he can keep the sights a little bit more stable when you're shooting. With the pistol, I think the compressed ready does it. It also gives your character a bit of rest. You won't fatigue your arms there, but if you're aiming down sights like this, your arms will fatigue and you'll get more weapon sway, and it'll be a little bit harder to make your shots. Not so much with the pistols, but with the rifles it is quite hectic. So, moving on to the rifle, let's take that out. If you press 1, you'll take your rifle off the sling. If you press 1 again, you'll re-sling it. Same thing with your handgun. Press 2, you will take your gun out of the holster. Press 2 again, you'll re-holster. You'll have no gun in your hand. So, take the rifle off the sling. We'll start off low ready, roll the mouse down, high ready, compressed ready with the rifle will be basically your hip fire, which is, I wouldn't call it hip fire, I think it's more shoulder fire because the weapon is shouldered, and then your high ready. So high ready, shoulder the weapon, low ready. With the rifles, I think your low ready is the best to recover your stamina. If we aim down sights, we will obviously tire out the arms a lot quicker. So now let's move on to the functionality of the optics. So if we're in a low ready, a shoulder position, or a high ready, if you right click, you will aim down sights regardless of which ready position you're in. And if you're in high or low ready and you left click to fire, you will aim down, you'll shoulder the weapon first without firing a shot. So that's something that you can use if you want to play more realistically. Let's say we go here to the corner, I peek the corner, I click the mouse, and I come out with the weapon up. So just something cool you can do. Yeah, if you have it in the shouldered position, you'll be able to fire the weapon. And yeah, that's the basics. Now let's move on to the optics. So with your optics, aim down sights when you right click. If you want to change the magnification of your optic, you will hold Alt and then scroll your mouse forward or backwards, and that will change your magnification. If you let go of Alt and you scroll your mouse up, you will change to your secondary optic. If you have a third optic on the top of your scope, it will change to that if you scroll the mouse again. So you can have a side mounted optic and an optic on top of your scope. You can go as wild and as crazy as you want. Then something else to note, if we press home or page up, home will brighten your dot, home will brighten the dot, end will lower the magnification. So let's zoom in. We're already in as far as we can go. So you can change the brightness of your dot. If I change the brightness of this dot, let's say I turn the illumination completely off and I switch to my red dot, it will be unaffected. Each individual optic, even if you have 3 optics on this gun, will have their own illumination and brightness settings. So we can bring this dot all the way down. As you'll see, it's a nice small dot. We switch back and we have no illumination. If I go to my brightest setting, completely unaffected. And the opposite applies as well. Brightness all the way, and we lower the brightness on this one, completely individual settings, which I think is pretty cool. It's a nice function to have. Depending on what situations you're going to find yourself getting into, you can adapt your optics and your firearms to the way you want to play. So now, moving on to our attachments, we have a few options. So I've currently got my flashlight set on my thumb button on my mouse. It's only a momentary on, so as long as you're holding the button in, it'll be on. If you double tap it, it'll be permanently on. Okay, so on, off, every time you press and release. And then if you would like to do some further options over there. We press and hold our middle mouse button, and then we can turn on our light permanently by moving the mouse down to it and letting go. If I click the mouse button again, it'll turn it off. If I click it again, it'll turn it on. So you have two different ways of activating your accessories. Now if I hold the mouse button, the mouse wheel button in, I can select if I want to put my laser on. If I click it again, it'll turn it off. And if I move to change my laser mode, I can change between visible laser and IR laser, and then I can put my IR illuminator on. So let's do this. We'll put it off and we will run our laser on and our flashlight. So now if we move along to our night vision range, just to show you the functionality of this over here, if we have our night vision on, we'll be able to see our white light and our red laser. Put the white light off and we switch on our IR illuminator, lights up the area. You will not see that with the night vision off. If I change my laser mode to IR, we'll see it, and we take off the night vision and it is not there. So pretty cool, it's pretty realistic. If I want to aim down sights now, my red dot will be the best option. Let's put this IR laser off. We put our red laser off. So depending on what optic you're running, you'll have different optics functioning differently with your night vision. As you can see, if we run an EOTech hollow sight on here, we will be able to use it nicely with the night vision. If I switch to my variable optic over here, the scoped optic, it's blurry, it's not very usable, so we'll have to use our point aiming systems like our lasers and our flashlights. If we do switch to something that works with the night vision, then you'll be able to use it. There is, however, another option we have. You can quickly show you guys before we finish off this video. If I want to be able to use night vision with this optic, I'll have to have a night vision adapter, which is here in our sights. It's this AN-PVS. We'll slap it on here, and then any scoped optic or variable optic we use will then function with night vision. You'll just have to take your night vision goggles off and you'll be able to use your variable scope with night vision. Then if we want to run night vision without a problem, let's just remove this quickly. I'll just run you through it while we're talking about it. Let's put on a magnifier and an EOTech. Okay, cool. So just to show you how that works, let's run back to our night vision room. Night vision on. The EOTech works perfectly fine. Obviously it's not amazing, but it'll get the job done. I think that's pretty realistic. That's why a lot of the guys, the real operators out there, will use an IR illuminator or a IR laser so that they don't have to worry about their optics. But yeah, there are optics that work with night vision in the game, and there are optics that don't, and you'll just have to figure that out and see what works best for you. Okay, now moving on to the last little bit of our video. I'm going to run over the reloading system. It's pretty cool, and it's quite well thought out. If we fire a couple rounds or not, if we double tap our R button, we will drop the mag on the floor and you'll be able to pick it up again if there are live rounds in it. If it is empty, then it'll disappear after a little bit. So we can do two kinds of reloads. We have a retention reload. Just press R, the character will stow the mag in its pouch, and if we double press R, we'll drop that mag on the ground and be able to retrieve it. Same thing with your pistol mags. You can drop the mag. Because it's loaded, we can pick it back up. Or we can do our retention reload, stowing it in the pouch. Something else to note, if I just press R, I can reload till infinity because I'll just keep switching through my mags. Another thing to note, if we say we fire 5 rounds out of this mag and I reload, that mag will retain that same round count, it doesn't change. And I fire one round, this one, reload. Eventually I'm going to cycle back to that mag that had the 5 rounds out. So all your mags will have their own individual round count, and it will stay that way until you've run out of rounds, or let's say you've cycled through all your full mags. You'll start cycling back to the first mags you used. So let's fire a mag completely empty. We do a mag drop reload. Then let's fire about half a mag out. We'll do a retention reload. Fire a couple rounds here. Do another retention reload. By the time you've worked your way through all your full mags, you will do a full circle, come back to that half a mag that you fired first, and it will cycle again through all the mags that you have shot rounds out of, which is quite a cool function. I think it's quite realistic. I like it, and yeah, cool. I think that's it for today. I've covered all the basics. I hope you guys have learned something from it, and you'll be able to enjoy the game a lot more now they can do all the basic functions. Until next time, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the other side.